Okay, take two. I'm hoping someone is going to jump on and let me know if they can hear me or not. Because apparently I just spent 5 minutes talking and there was no sound. So if someone could jump on, please, and let me know if they can hear me, that would be awesome. Where is... Where is my... Let me know if you can hear me, please. Can someone let me know if I have any sound? Oh, I should have brought my other phone down, shouldn't I? Can you hear me now? Is that okay? Can you hear me? If someone could let me know in the comment whether you can hear me or not, that would be awesome. Just a yes or a no would be great. Otherwise, I'll be sat here waffling to myself again for 5-10 minutes and no one can hear me unless you're good at lip reading. So let me know. Can you hear me? Is there any noise? Somebody please. Yes, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, my lovely. Thank you. It's always good when someone lets me know there's no sound. So, as I was saying a moment ago, this isn't what I planned to talk about today for Wellbeing Wednesday, but I saw someone had shared an article today, which didn't surprise me at all, that said about the suicide rate amongst men is at like an all-time high. And that doesn't surprise me at all. Thank you, bless you. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. Not with everything going on. It really doesn't surprise me. So I wanted to come on and talk about the two main reasons why that is, why men are more likely to commit suicide. I've got a really dry mouth now. And I don't normally ask people to share my videos, but as many of you who can and are willing to do that, that's great, because this really needs to be talked about. It really needs to, to be talked about, because it's so sad. You know, I've heard one of my students, her son-in-law committed suicide a few months ago, and you know, I'm hearing of more and more people, and I've been there. I've been at the stage where I used to go to bed wishing that I wouldn't wake up. I have actively tried to take my own life. In fact, I shouldn't really be here by rights. So I know what it's like. And it's a horrible place to be. And so, yeah, I decided I'd come on today and just talk about the two main reasons. There's more, but two main reasons why men are more likely to commit suicide than women. The first one is they don't have the support network that women do. When men get together, and let's face it, they can't even do that at the moment, but when men get together, they tend to talk about manly things. You know, they talk about the football, or they moan about their wives, or they moan about work. They don't talk about feelings. And some men actually don't know how to talk about their feelings, especially older men who are kind of brought up in a household that, you know, boys didn't cry and you have to be strong and all that kind of thing. So a lot of men, and this may sound strange to women, but a lot of men don't know how to express their feelings. They don't know what they're feeling. They just know they feel like shit, and they just know that they can't go on like it. So they don't have a natural outlet for their emotions. Women get together and they may cry, they may shout, they may scream, they laugh, and they are very open in that way. And it's like a saucepan of boiling water with a lid on it. If you don't express those emotions, somehow the lid will fly off. And that is why, one of the reasons why men are more likely to end their life, because they just get to the stage where it's like, I just can't take it anymore. The other main reason, is that men are natural problem solvers. It's the way they are hardwired. And it goes back to when we were cavemen and women. It was the men that went out and found the shelter, that found the food, that protected the tribe. Women's role was to be the nurturer, that make the food, look after the children, which is why some men have better sense of direction than women. but men are still innate natural problem solvers. Now, despite the fact that our brain has evolved, our brain has grown, which is why actually it's shaped like a walnut, because when we first became man, when we first became upright, our brain was a lot smaller. We've kind of added bits to it, and it would have got so big it wouldn't fit in our head, which is why it's kind of squished like a walnut shape. But we still have innate tendencies. Now, that doesn't mean that men can't act more like women and women act more like men, but one of the things that men innately do is they're a problem solver. They feel like they have the provider protector role. And so if you're in a situation where you cannot solve the problem, or they're in a situation where they're fearful of losing their job or their business is struggling, and they start to feel like they can't provide for their family, or they're worried that they won't be able to provide for their family, that also really knocks their pride, because they still feel they have this provider protector. I'm the one that should be looking after my family. And if they can't, or if they're worried that they can't, then they could end up in a vicious spiral and end up thinking that my family would be better off without me. And that is sad. That really is sad. And just to demonstrate what I mean by men being problem solvers, women like to kind of just vent their feelings, and they feel better when they do that. So say, just for example, you've come home from a day at work when things were normal, and you're moaning about Mary in accounts. Oh, she's done this, she's done that, blah, 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 blah. Your partner, he's naturally thinking, he's interpreting it as that you are telling him this because you want him to solve the problem being Mary being a bitch. So he will offer you advice because he thinks that's what you want, that's what you need. But what you actually want is just to let it all out, and then you feel better. And so when you come back a week later moaning about Mary from accounts again, and he's saying, well, did you take my advice? Did you report it? Did you do that? And you're like, no. And he's like, well, why not? Why didn't you? Because they naturally assume that we expect them to solve a problem. With my soon-to-be ex-husband, quite often if I ask him a question, I would have to say to him, I'm not expecting you to solve this. I'm just speaking. And it's one of the reasons why men often appear to be a bit thoughtless, because they will say things like, well, there's no point getting upset about it. And the reason they say that is because their mind's gone, how can I solve this problem? I can't. I feel like complete failure. So no point getting upset. And then they come across as thoughtless and rude and horrible. And it's not that at all. I remember when my pony got diagnosed with COPD, I was upset and worried and stressed, and I just needed to get my emotions out, because that's what us women naturally do. And my partner at the time said those exact words to me, well, there's no point worrying about it, which was true. There is no point worrying about it. But that's where the difference is. And thankfully, at that time, I had learnt about the differences, that women just need to vent and they feel better, and men think that they need you to solve the problem. You need them to solve their problem. So of course, as I was speaking, his mind was probably subconsciously thinking, well, how can I solve this problem? Well, I can't solve it, so I'm a failure. And that's why, because they feel like a failure, they will say things that sound thoughtless, that sound uncaring. And it's not that they don't care, it's because they feel like a failure. And so because men are natural problem solvers and they see themselves in the role of provider protector, if this role looks threatened, as I say, by all the stuff that's going on, by them possibly losing their job or their business struggling, or they fear that it will, then they are more likely to end up in a spiral where they think that the family will be better off without them. They cannot cope. Now, things you can do to help your menfolk. One of them is so simple, is just to check in with all the men you know, whether it's your partner, whether it's your son, whether it's your dad, whether it's your cousins, whether it's your neighbor, because men hide it. Men hide it. Me personally, when I'm depressed, everyone knows. It's obvious a mile away because my energy is just low. I don't smile as much. It's so obvious. But men are so good at not so much hiding it. They often don't recognize it because they don't naturally speak about their emotions. They know they feel shit. They know they can't solve a problem, but they don't understand what, why, or how, which is why they tend to go very introverted, and they end up getting to a place where they think, well, the only solution to this problem is me to kill myself. And that is just really sad. So check in with all the guys you know, check in even with your father, because everything is amplified at the minute. People who are struggling anyway, it's like someone's turned the dial up on anxiety, on depression, on everything. We're in a kind of melting pot of emotions, and it's like I've been saying this all along. I've been saying this since this COVID stuff kicked off. It's like a ticking time bomb, and we need to be looking out for each other all the time. And men are so good at putting on a front. You know, they'll often use humor, or they're more likely to turn to drink or drugs or go out and smash something, because they cannot process what they're feeling, for one, and they don't know how to voice it, for two, and three, they feel like a failure because they haven't solved the problem. So say they've been on furlough or whatever, or their business is going down the drain because of the shops being closed and stuff. They can't solve the problem because there is no way to solve it. We're all in the kind of same boat, but that's not how their brain works. Their brain is like, I can't solve this. I'm a failure. I can't provide for my family. They'll be better off without me. And that's kind of how their thinking goes. So check in with all the guys you know. Also, show them this video, because a lot of guys don't realize that they're thinking in terms of solving problems. And it's, as I say, women like to vent. Women like to just talk about how they feel, get it off their chest, and then that's it. They're fine. Whereas, as I say, men like to solve problems, and they think that everything you say or do is an invitation for them to solve a problem. And if they can't, they feel like a failure. So show them this video. Just, do it discreetly if you like. It really doesn't matter. Let them know that you don't expect them to solve the problem, because their hands are tied. At the minute, there's lots of things we can do, but at the minute we're kind of restricted by the stuff that's going on. It's not their fault. So encourage them to talk. Encourage them to open up about how they feel. Force them to fucking talk. As I say, show them this video. Also lead by example. Let them know how you've been feeling. Let them know that you've been feeling anxious, that you've been feeling worried, but that it's okay. You'll get through it together. Because in their head, they're thinking they're the one that needs to solve everything. They're the one that needs to provide. And if they can't, then they've let you all down. And we need to tell our men that that's not the case. Hey, Richard, how you doing, my lovely? We need to let them know that that's simply not the case. And that's why I invite people, please press the share button, because we need to be talking about this. We really need to be talking about this. But explain to them that if you ever read another book, again, read Women Are From Mars, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, because I learned so much from that book. Absolutely so much from that book. And if men don't realize that they are trying to solve a problem when actually there's either no solution to the problem or there's no problem in the first place, they end up feeling frustrated. And that can lead to depression. And so many men don't actually know they've got depression because they're not used to connecting with their feelings. They don't know what's going on. And if you don't know what's going on, it's like being in a black hole and someone's throwing mud on you and you don't know how to get out. So talk to all the men you know. Let them know that it's okay if they're struggling, that they're not alone, that there are a lot of people struggling right now, a hell of a lot of people struggling. And also the fact that everything is intensified. The energy of the whole kind of earth at the moment is intensified. So anyone who has kind of mental health problems anyway, it'll be like turning up the dial. And a lot of men, they wouldn't like to admit that they're suffering from depression because they see it as a sign of weakness. And it is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of being human. Feeling depressed, feeling anxious, feeling worried, worrying about supporting your family is a sign of being human. There is tiny, tiny difference between men and women. We all feel, but we've still got this bullshit stigma that men shouldn't cry, men shouldn't express their feelings and all that kind of thing. And it is absolute bullshit. So let your man know father, son, brother, whatever, that it's okay to worry, it's okay to cry or go and smash some plates or whatever, but they need to let their feelings out. And the other thing is, if you're worried about someone and then they suddenly start to seem a bit happier, go check on them. Go check on them, because quite often people who have decided they're going to end their life will seem calmer and happier in the few days before they actually do it, because they have made the decision that they're going to end their life, and so they feel a weight lifting off their shoulders. So don't ever assume that someone is okay. Go and check on them. Share your feelings as well, so leading by example, and also try and point them in the direction of support. So men's support groups, I know there are quite a few doing Zoom meetings and stuff like that. Show them people in the public eye, male celebrities who have suffered from depression, so that they know it's not a weakness. It is absolutely natural, especially with everything going on right now. And you don't think any less of them. Really amplify that. Really, what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think, but really make sure that they know that you don't think any less of them if they're struggling. You don't think any less of them if they're feeling depressed. You don't love them any less because they're depressed, and you want to help them. This is a time more than any that we need to be supporting each other, and that includes sharing that you're worried too, that you're, you have moments of anxiety, but that you're working together. Because, as I said, I've said all along since this all kicked off and all started that I was more worried about the suicide rates and stuff. And, so this article just, it didn't surprise me at all to hear, guys, going mad, to hear that the suicide rate has gone up. It's a new moon and they're all going bonkers. That normally happens at a full moon. The other thing is get them doing some kind of exercise, even if it's just going out for a walk, or say getting a pillow, using it as a punch bag. Get them to start expressing their feelings. And as I say, men are very good at hiding their emotions. They're very good at hiding it behind humor, behind drink, drugs, those kind of things. So we just need to remind them that they're not weak, they're not useless. You don't expect them to be the provider, protector always, that you're in it together and that they can get through it. You can get through it. We've gone this far. It's been nearly a year now. You've got this far. You can keep going. There will always be help. There will always be help. People fear losing their home, their family, whatever. Worst comes to worst, there will always be help. Remind them of that. Whatever happens, someone will be there to help pick them up. So I hope the sound has been working again. And I hope that, please do press the share button, because we need to be talking about this before more people end their life, because it's just so sad. So enjoy the rest of your day, beautiful soul. Maybe join me this evening for our new moon day 4 of resolutions, to harness the energy of the new moon to bring your, I think someone's in the cupboard stealing cat food, bring your goals, dreams, intentions to life. Thank you so much, beautiful souls. And if this sound hasn't worked again, I don't know what I'm going to do. But just know that you've got this far. You can do it. You're not weak. It takes an amazing amount of strength to admit that you're struggling. And we're all struggling one way or another. Every single one of us. So don't ever feel like you're alone. If you're a man, don't ever feel like you're alone. Bless you.